Hi, everybody. I'm Olivia F. Scott, Assistant Professor of Advertising at Loyola University, New Orleans, and the founder of Omerge Alliance's Marketing Consultancy. So, as you may know, I've been practicing in marketing and advertising for over 25 years, and I feel that there is no greater time for our industry than right now. With all of the media platforms that are out there, there's a lot to stay on top of, and there are a lot of times there are a lot more questions than there are answers. So today, we're going to talk about podcasting. Cynthia Corfa is an incredible connector, storyteller, and multifaceted creative. She's a New Orleans journalist, community leader, eczema warrior and advocate, inspirational speaker, and social media specialist. In 2017, she founded Brunch for the Soul, a purposefully designed women's wellness event in Louisiana that grew into a nationwide community. Welcome, Cynthia. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm doing amazing.
So, want to talk today about how to create compelling content. You know, you're a journalist, you're a podcaster, you're the founder of Brunch for the Soul, so you're the ultimate content creator. Can you share with us how you got your start creating content?
Yes. Well, I feel like my start to creating content started as early as like fifth grade. So in fifth grade, I created a newsletter for all of my grade to read. So this was back in the typing days, the computers with the butt on the back, like that is what I was writing on Word docs to create a newsletter as early as fifth grade. And my mom made sure that the school approved the newsletter so that we could read it during reading hour. Like, that's how deep this goes back. Yes, yes. So I have been creating content since the dawn of time, I feel like. And, once technology was more at the forefront, I started a blog. And so I started a blog on WordPress. And I think it was called Cynthia Says. And then that transitioned to Laced in Sin. And then once social media became more prevalent, I transferred my talents, I guess you could say, to social media. So then that's what I've been doing mostly now, is creating on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all the apps.
Wonderful. So you've been a creator, which is my next question. How long have you been a creator? You've been a creator since birth.
Yes. All of my life. All my life.
Very well. And so in addition to writing for Essence, NOLA Magazine, Where You At, and 225 Magazine, you also created Brunch for the Soul.
Yeah.
Will you share with us how you got this started and how you decided to use podcasts as a means to reach your audience?
Yes. So Brunch for the Soul is a women's and wellness community that started as an event in my home in Baton Rouge in 2017. So I wanted a space for women to gather, share knowledge, connect, be vulnerable, and really just like fill their cup. So the idea was, this is brunch, we're literally gonna eat brunch, but we're also feeding our souls. So I just wanted a space to do all of that. Okay. And in 2020, we were all in our homes, the pandemic was going on, and so I couldn't have events as much as I did before. So I wanted a way for women to still stay connected, keep the conversations going around important topics. So I started the podcast in 2020, and it's still going now. I love it. It's just a way to connect with women who are outside of Louisiana as well. I love knowing that people are listening to the podcast in their cars, while they're folding laundry, while they're washing the dishes. So it's a way to stay connected, and people feel like I'm talking directly to them. They hear my voice, and they'll come to me and talk to me in real life, and they'll be like, oh, remember your podcast episode where you said this and that? And I'm like, I don't even remember I said that, but I love that it keeps the conversations going, and it makes people feel this sense of connection, just like we're sitting at the table together, but through a podcast.
What do you think it is about podcasts that's different from like YouTube that makes you feel a greater connectivity with your audience, or makes them feel like they're like in the living room, they've met you, they're with you?
That's a great question. I think it's because, if I could guess, it's because, for one, it's audio. So you can take it with you anywhere. You don't have to like stop your day just to tune in. You can continue doing workouts. You can do your hair, wash your hair, paint your nails, all these things while you're still tapped into that conversation. Whereas YouTube, I feel like you're more prone to like pausing, and you got to watch your screen and keep engaged by that. Sometimes you get ads. So it just depends. But I think podcasts just feel a little bit more personal.
Agreed. So given that podcasts are more saturated now, How have you been able to stand out and build your audience? There's a lot of podcasts out there, and I love them. But you have an amazing one. But what is it you're doing uniquely to really create content for them and really stand out?
I try to, first of all, create content that I want to hear. So
Okay.
I make sure that these are conversations that I would want to tune into. So even if I've already recorded a podcast, if I'm not interested in it, chances are other people aren't going to be interested in it. So I try to choose topics that I want to learn more about, or I want to dive deeper in, or maybe topics that me and my friends are talking about. And we're like, you know what? More people need to talk about this, or we need to hear more about this. Those are the topics I try to choose and flesh them out, such as, for example, like Reiki healing. That's a big topic lately. So I just did a podcast on that, and just to give people a breakdown, or just a deeper dive, a deeper look at it. What is it? Who's doing it? Who does it affect? How can it help you? And just like fleshing it all out in this fun to listen to 60 minutes or less way.
What's your niche, though? Right? I mean, you're saying you're creating content that you want to listen to, but who are you serving through your podcast?
Women. So I am primarily focused on serving women and women who are on a wellness journey. So women who are trying to learn more about all these woo-woo things that are going on, all these holistic things, women who are on their own personal development journey and who want to improve themselves some way.
Wonderful. So we're a university, and there are a lot of students who probably have ideas to create a podcast as well. So would you mind walking us through a couple of things technically? What's your process for creating content, brainstorming content for your podcast? Do you sit down once a month and write out 4 weeks of content, or do you go away to a mountain and you write things out for a quarter? Like, how do you do this?
Yeah. Ideally, I would love to go to the mountains to come up with that's like the goal, right? But I would say for me, everything for me starts on Google Docs. So I'm like running out of storage currently because I use Google Docs so much. But I typically, before I start a season, I will just write down everything that I've ever wanted to write about, everything that I've wanted to talk about, or everything that I'm even interested in. And that list continues forever. So it's an ongoing list. I'm even, adding to it currently. So if I get inspired, I go ahead and plug that onto the Google Doc. Then I narrow it down based on, okay, what is most relevant, what's most time or newsworthy, what is timely right now, and what do people need to hear in this moment. And so I'll narrow it down, maybe pick like 10 solid topics, and then that kind of outlines my season upcoming. And then from there, I'll start plugging in guests. So who can I interview based on this topic? Who can speak for an hour plus on this specific topic? Or who's going to keep the audience engaged about this topic? And then from there, I interview them and, schedule
Where?
the-
Where do you interview?
I interview them at my house. So I record my podcast in my house, in my office, so sometimes you might hear, a car going by, or,
Okay.
I live next to like a fire station. So you might hear the fire station, but that is all a part of the process. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people can let the idea of having a perfect podcast prevent them from recording one.
Love it.
It's like, obviously we would all want to have this, tight knit studio, and you can't hear anything,
Right.
and it's soundproof and all of those things. But sometimes you just need to record a conversation. You just need to get it out there.
Right.
And so that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, we are having real conversations over tea. Every time a guest comes over, I ask them if they want water, tea, coffee, whatever. And we have a real conversation in my home. So from there, after we record, I will typically, it depends how much time will go by, but maybe I'll let a week or so go by, and then I'll do the editing process on my computer, and then I post them via Anchor.
Beautiful. Last couple of questions. What do you love most about being a podcaster, and what is your greatest challenge being a podcaster?
I love getting to sit down and talk with people. I feel like that is one of the reasons I was brought on this earth, is to talk with people in this way, connect with people. Some of the most beautiful conversations I've ever had were because of a podcast.
Yep.
So there's nothing better than that. One of the hardest parts, I would say, is the tech part, of course. I'm a creative through and through. I mean, you can be a tech person and a creative, but it is my least favorite part, is having to make sure that both mics are on, make sure that our audio is good, make sure that, you know, there's no issues along the way, and then editing it all nice and crisp and making sure the transitions are going smoothly. So there's a lot of moving pieces with podcasts. It's not just as simple as recording and then putting it out.
Gotcha. All right, final question we ask everybody. What's your secret sauce, my love? What makes you you?
I love that. What makes me me? I am willing to dig deep within myself to learn more about myself. So I don't just create from nothingness. I have to fill my well in order to share with others. So everything that I share is a direct result of me doing some sort of inner work and overflowing. So I'm always filling my cup. So the only way that I can share with you guys is by filling my cup first. So that's how I feel like I stay me.
Beautiful. Well, Cynthia, it has been a joy and a blessing to have you here with us today. If people want to learn more about you, where should they turn?
First stop, Instagram. You can follow me at Cynthia Corfah. That's CyntheaCorfah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for joining us today for this edition of Behind the Ad with Cynthia Corfah. We'll see you at the next edition. See you soon.